Ctv3 News. Transport Department denies unauthorized bus fare hike in the north, warns of sanctions. 3 men accused in Sean Ortiz Campbell's 2024 murder freed by Belize City Magistrates Court. Ministry of Transport moves to halt motorcycle licenses amid rising fatalities and safety concerns. And young campers in Orange Walk South embrace agriculture during second annual youth summer camp. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Wednesday, August 6, 2025.
World shifts to regional supply chains, Belize is poised to lead. This is where blue innovation meets green ambition, and orange creativity thrives. Join us for the Belize Investment Summit 2025, September 3rd to 5th at the Sunset Carib in San Pedro. From agribusiness to aquaculture, from renewable energy to digital services, from tourism to trade, this is the future of regional integration, and it starts here. Whether you're returning home, expanding regionally, or entering new markets, Belize welcomes you. Why Belize? Why now? Belize Investment Summit 2025, Bridging Markets, Building Resilience, September 3rd to 5th at Sunset Carib, San Pedro. Visit investmentsummit.bz to register and be part of shaping the investment frontier.
Josetón presenta Los Cumbia Kings. Los Cumbia Kings en concierto. Este 30 de agosto en el Estadio del Pueblo, Orange World Belice. Los Cumbia Kings en vivo.
No tengo dinero ni nada que dar.
No te pierdas el concierto del año que te hará bailar como nunca. General 150, VIP 200 y Platino $350. Boletos a la venta en la aplicación QuiPass, disponible en Android y iPhone. También con Mechas, gracias al patrocinio de
BTV, Mechas,
la aplicación Express Plus,
Cuellos,
Instituto Nacional de Cultura e Historia,
Lock and Loaded, Mark Production, Quick Pass, Lighthouse.
Good evening. With your news also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7, I am Joanna Rodriguez. After concerns by commuters over a sudden price hike in bus fares in the north this week, the Department of Transport is clarifying that the increase recently announced by several northern bus operators is unauthorized and illegal. As we had reported before, a notice was issued by various operators in the north advising of an increase in the bus fares which would come into effect on August 4th. The increase would reflect $7.50 for daily travel and $8.50 for express buses from Orange Walk to Belize City. The operators claim the fare adjustment reflects a 2022 rate schedule approved by the Ministry of Transport, which they delayed implementing. CEO in the Ministry of Transport, Chester Williams, however, today clarified that the increase is not valid. According to Williams, while discussions took place in 2022 and the then government announced an increase, no statutory instrument was signed to legally authorize the fare change.
Yes, we have seen a release issued by some of the bus operators from the north in which they propose to increase bus fares. And I've also been informed by some commuters from the north that the bus companies have gone ahead with the increase that they had proposed, despite our warning to them that they are not to proceed with any such increase. May I make it clear that the bus fares are regulated by law. There is an SI that clearly outlined what are the fees that buses are to charge from one point to another. I think that SI came out in 2017. And in the SI, it shows that bus rate from Belize City to Orange Walk, for example, should be, I think, $7 or $7.50. $7. The express is $8. They now propose to charge, I think, $7.50, which is 50 cents higher than what the law stipulates. Now, they are justifying this to say that in 2022, the government had approved via a press release the increase of bus fares. May I say that the fact that the bus fares are regulated by law, the change in the fares cannot be done by way of a press release. It must be done in like manner by way of an SI. There is no SI, or there was no SI issued in 2022 changing the rates from what they were in 2017. And so the increase in fares that these companies have implemented is illegal and shall be considered void.
Williams says that the department has issued individual letters to operators in the north clarifying the situation. He further warns that failure to comply may result in sanctions, including fines and revocation of road service permits.
The Chief Transport Officer is going to address the issue with the bus companies. I believe that they were sent individual letters informing them that the fees increase was illegal and for them to stand down. I want to advise the bus companies that if they wish to increase fares, and we have to be fair to them, we do understand that inflation has gone up, fuel price has gone up, and so there may be a justifiable need for the increase, but there is a right way to do it. What they would need to do is to write to the Ministry of with responsibility for transport, asking for the increase with proper justification. Once that is received, our minister is going to take that to cabinet, and then cabinet may give it its blessing or deny. If cabinet gives the increase their blessing, then it goes to the AG to draft the regulation, and then the minister with responsibility for transport then signs off on that, and then it becomes legal. So the process that they have taken in this regard is, like I said before, illegal and shall be deemed null and void. And I want to encourage all the commuters who traverse on those buses not to pay the rate as stipulated by the increase that the companies are charging, and for them to pay the legally regulated rate that is in the SI. And with that, those operators will not be able to do them anything. We have sent the letters to them, and I believe the letters were sent on Monday. By today, tomorrow, I think they should receive those letters, and we expect that when they receive those letters, they will come to the realization that what they're doing is wrong, and they will revert to the previous status quo. And if it is that they fail to, then we will move against them before the Transport Board and seek to have the permit suspended.
The ministry emphasized that while it recognizes the economic challenges faced by operators, any fare changes must follow legal procedures and be communicated transparently with the public. In response to a concerning rise in fatal motorcycle accidents across the country, the Ministry of Transport is looking at urgent steps to reform the way motorcycles are utilized on Belize's roads. This comes in the wake of yet another tragic incident on Friday in Orange Walk, where two young men lost their lives and a third was left critically injured following a head-on motorcycle collision on the Yo Creek Road. The incident adds to a growing list of weekly motorcycle-related fatalities, prompting renewed calls for action. The alarming trend has reached a critical point, prompting the ministry to take drastic measures. These measures, according to CEO in the Ministry of Transport, Chester Williams, includes discussions to have a temporary moratorium on the issuance of motorcycle licenses. The pause would allow the Department of Transport to re-evaluate current licensing procedures, roadworthiness standards, and rider safety protocols.
Just on Monday, we discussed, myself and my minister and the chief transport officer, and I proposed to the minister for us to have a moratorium on the issuing of license for motorcycles. Motorcycles are certainly becoming an issue. Yes, I know it is not going to be within the sole prerogative of our ministry to make that decision, but we are going to propose to Cabinet for there to be a moratorium for us to do a more comprehensive studies in terms of what we need to do to enhance road safety when motorcycles are concerned. There are several issues surrounding motorcycles, and like you rightly pointed out, Paul, the fact that they are used by some to engage in criminal activities is a major concern. The fact that we have a number of our young people dying on our highways on motorcycle due to reckless use of motorcycle is another major issue. And so we have to look at both of these issues and see what we can do to be able to make the riding of motorcycles on our highway more safer. We have discussed to see if we can come up with a plan where, in order for you to get a driver's license for a motorcycle, you must undergo a 2 to 3 weeks motorcycle riding course. And we're hoping that there are going to be people, entrepreneurs, who may wish to open a school to teach people to ride motorcycles. And in order for you to get the license to ride the motorcycle, you will have to be certified by a certified institution. And so these are things that we're looking at. We're also looking at trying to see how we can get the Bureau of Standard to come up with a standard certified helmet that motorcycle riders must use, because this practice where they just use a bicycle helmet that's just fit on top of their head needs to be do away with. It is not a proper helmet. It does not protect them in the case of an accident, and so that is one thing that we also need to try to see how we can address. Again, we do understand that motorcycles is the poor man transportation, and we're hoping that if we do get to go ahead for the moratorium, it shouldn't be for too long. I think in about a month, 2 months' time, we should be able to come up with a more comprehensive plan in terms of how we move forward to make sure that those persons who ride motorcycles on our highway are safe.
The ministry is also looking to work with motorcycle vendors to standardize the sale of helmets with the purchase of any of these vehicles.
Again, we need to look at the vendors of the motorcycles. The law is clear that in order to sell a motorcycle, you must sell a helmet with it. The question is, are the vendors selling helmets with the motorcycles? And if the answer is yes, what type of helmets are they selling? So that's an issue we need to look at. Minister have asked that we meet next week with the motorcycle vendors. It might have to be done in different groups because there are a number of them across the country. So we are going to meet with them likewise. We want them to be a part of the discussion as we come up with a solution to be able to deal with this crisis that confronts us on our highways where motorcycles are concerned.
The ministry is also collaborating closely with the Belize Police Department to examine the role motorcycles have played in criminal activity, including their frequent use in quick getaways and drive-by shootings. This has raised national security concerns in addition to the public health crisis posed by frequent crashes.
Where Honduras have now banned the pillion rider. So on a motorcycle in Honduras, only one person can ride. And again, it's because of the same thing. Where you have the rider, you have the pillion rider. The pillion rider is normally the gunman. So they did that move as a means of safety to try and quell some of the issues that they were having with gunmen riding on motorcycles and go and perpetrate the criminal acts. So again, in the discussion that we're having to amend the law to make it more stringent where motorcycles are concerned, we are including the police as a part of the dialogue. Again, we're also looking at other things like, for example, the helmet that is worn by the rider and the pillion rider must bear the license plate number of the motorcycle. So again, we know that the helmet is good, but there is also the evil aspect behind the helmet, where the helmet is used by the gunmen to conceal your identity. So you conceal your identity, you will not be able to recognize because of the helmet. You put this license plate on the helmet, so once you see the license plate on the helmet, we can know exactly who the cycle belongs to. Car will be able to trace the cycle through the license plate. And the law is going to be clear if you go down that route, that you will not be allowed to loan your helmet to anybody. If you loan your helmet to anybody and they go and use it to commit a crime, the onus is then going to be on you to prove that you were not the gunman at that particular moment.
In the meantime, the ministry is calling on all riders to wear helmets, avoid reckless riding, and to adhere to existing traffic laws as the country works towards safer roads for all. The Belize City Magistrates Court last Thursday dismissed all charges against 3 men accused of involvement in the 2024 homicide of taxi driver Sean Albert Ortiz Campbell. The decision came following directives from the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, effectively removing them from the case. The men released are Police Constable Peter Jamal Jeremy Perez, age 23, Kyle Nolbert Stefan Domingo, 35, and Gasman Gilmore Jones, 28. They had initially faced charges alongside 47-year-old Charles Alexander Brown, an employee of the Leadership Intervention Unit LIU, in connection with Campbell's stabbing death on Jaguar Avenue on November 4, 2024. The trio appeared before Magistrate Ludlow Black, where the court officially withdrew all charges against them. The original charges were filed on November 6, 2024, shortly after the incident. According to police reports, Campbell, a 43-year-old resident of Fern Lane, was attacked and stabbed shortly after leaving a social gathering with a companion around 3 a.m. The victim was transported to the Carl Houston Memorial Hospital, KHMH, where he succumbed to a single stab wound to the left side of his chest at approximately 4:50 a.m. Surveillance footage captured the assault, prompting a police investigation that led to the arrest of the 4 suspects. While PC Perez declined to provide a statement, Domingo Jones, the case's most recent court appearance was on July 11, 2025, for disclosure proceedings. The next scheduled hearing, set for August 26, 2025, will be a preliminary inquiry (PI) focused solely on Brown to determine if there is sufficient evidence to proceed to a Supreme Court trial. With the release of the 3 accused, the prosecution's strategy now centers on leveraging their testimony as witnesses against Brown, marking a shift in the case's trajectory as it advances towards trial. Javan Moody, 28, of Lords Bank, has been released from prison after a lengthy legal battle spanning more than 5 years. The Moody was officially acquitted last Thursday by the Belmopan High Court of the murder of his American girlfriend, 31-year-old Ariana Iris Jones, whose gruesome stabbing in February 2020 stunned the nation. The court's decision was handed down by Justice Francis Cumberbatch, who emphasized that although the evidence confirmed Jones's death was a homicide, the prosecution failed to establish Moody's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Jones was discovered inside her San Elena Cayo residence on February 10, 2020, with multiple stab wounds covering her face, neck, chest, arms, and hands. The autopsy revealed that her death was caused by asphyxiation due to the numerous stab injuries. Her body was concealed beneath a mattress and was found in a pool of blood. The trial, which began in early 2024 and wrapped up early this year, saw delays with the verdict only delivered on July 31st, 2025. Moody's legal representative Ronald Gonzalez highlighted that much of the prosecution's case depended on circumstantial evidence. Key points included Moody's clothes and wallet recovered at Jones's home, Jones's phone found at his residence in Lord's Bank, and a blood trace found in Moody's ear, an alleged critical link. DNA testing conducted abroad introduced further complications. The analysis revealed a mixture of genetic material from 3 or more individuals, including 1 male, but failed to identify or gender the other contributors. Gonzalez described the results as inconclusive, significantly undermining the strength of the prosecution's case. Throughout the proceedings, Moody maintained his innocence. He acknowledged being at Jones's house on the night she died, stating they were romantically involved and that his belongings were there because he often stayed with her. He claimed he left her alive that night to visit a club and returned to find her dead. Moody also demonstrated cooperation with authorities, guiding police to the crime scene, providing statements, and surrendering his cell phone for forensic analysis. His defense argued that the crime might have been committed during a robbery, as valuables such as jewelry and electronics have been stolen from the residence. Adding to the case's complexity, the autopsy failed to specify an exact time of death, which hindered the prosecution's effort to establish a clear timeline. Justice Cumberbatch concluded that, despite the circumstantial evidence pointing towards Moody, the inconsistencies in the DNA results, the absence of a murder weapon, and Moody's cooperation created reasonable doubt. The court found that the prosecution did not meet the burden of proof necessary for a conviction and that Moody's version of events was plausible. Coming up next, the Ministry of Transport implements night-only regulations for transporting large structures to enhance road safety. Stay tuned.
José Tun presenta Los Cumbia Kings.
Mi dulce niña, tú me fascinas.
Los Cumbia Kings en concierto.
Sabes a chocolate.
Este 30 de agosto en el Estadio del Pueblo, Orange World Belice. Los Cumbia Kings en vivo.
No tengo dinero ni nada que dar.
No te pierdas el concierto del año que te hará bailar como nunca. General 150, VIP 200 y Platino $350. Boletos a la venta en la aplicación Quipass, disponible en Android y iPhone. También con Mechas, gracias al patrocinio de
BTV, Mechas,
La aplicación Express Plus.
Cuellos,
Instituto Nacional de Cultura e Historia.
Lock and Loaded, Mark Production, Quick Pass, Lighthouse.
This is where blue innovation meets green ambition and orange creativity thrives. Join us for the Belize Investment Summit 2025, September 3rd to 5th at the Sunset Carib in San Pedro. This is the future of regional integration, and it starts here. Whether you're returning home, expanding regionally, or entering new markets, Belize welcomes you. Why Belize? Why now? Belize Investment Summit 2025. Bridging markets, building resilience. September 3rd to 5th, Sunset Carib, San Pedro. Visit investmentsummit.bz to register and be part of shaping the investment frontier.
It is truly a proud and historic moment for us here in San Ignacio. It gives me great joy to welcome you all to the official opening of the very first wooden basketball court in our community.
The cost of the project in completion was about $200,000. Honorable Mala was willing to assist us with this project. This is a huge, huge investment for us.
There can be serious development through sports, especially if the right foundation, having the right facilities are in place. Then the programs follow. We can't put the carriage front of the house by having the programs, but we only have outdoor facilities. Belize rain 6 months out of the year, and having outdoor facilities is just not enough.
Our focus is going to be on education because that's a part of using sports as a vehicle to get as many of our athletes to international schools to play football, basketball, volleyball, track, whatever it is. The other thing is health. 33% of our people are afflicted by diabetes, hypertension, or some ailment like that. And those things can be prevented. So we want to create again the facilities where people can go, exercise, have fun.
World shifts to regional supply chains, Belize is poised to lead. This is where blue innovation meets green ambition, and orange creativity thrives. Join us for the Belize Investment Summit 2025, September 3rd to 5th at the Sunset Carib in San Pedro. From agribusiness to aquaculture, from renewable energy to digital services, from tourism to trade, this is the future of regional integration, and it starts here. Whether you're returning home, expanding regionally, or entering new markets, Belize welcomes you. Why Belize? Why now? Belize Investment Summit 2025, Bridging Markets, Building Resilience, September 3rd to 5th at Sunset Carib, San Pedro. Visit investmentsummit.bz to register and be part of shaping the investment frontier.
Police Constable DeAndre Reed, who gained media attention in May 2024 for shooting a dog belonging to the Governor General, has been cleared to return to the Belize Police Department following a court-ordered reinstatement. Reed's dismissal, carried out by the then Police Commissioner Chester Williams in August 2023, was initially upheld but has now been overturned after an appeal. The Belize Advisory Council, BAC, recently determined that his rights to a fair disciplinary process were compromised, leading to the termination being invalidated. The controversy surrounding Reed's case began when he was dismissed without proper procedural safeguards. According to court documents and reports indicate that Reed challenged the termination on September 5, 2024, arguing that he was not given adequate notice or sufficient time to respond to the disciplinary charges against him. Specifically, he claimed that he was denied the mandated 5-day window to prepare a defense. The BAC reviewed these allegations and issued a ruling on August 5th, concluding that Reed's As a result of these findings, the BAC set aside Reed's dismissal, effectively overturning the decision made by the former commissioner. The ruling opens the door for Reed's possible reinstatement to the Belize Police Department should he choose to resume his duties. A major decision affecting road users across Belize was announced today by the Department of Transport as new regulations has come into effect governing the movement of houses and oversized structures along public roadways. Effective immediately, these types of transports will only be permitted between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. 7 days a week. The move, according to the department, is part of an ongoing effort to improve road safety and minimize traffic disruptions caused by daytime movements of large structures. This decision, according to CEO in the Ministry of Transport Chester Williams, has come after months of mounting complaints from motorists and residents about these transports blocking highways, damaging property, and causing significant delays, particularly during peak commuting hours.
Yes, again, we're trying to find a balancing approach to the situation. We do understand the need for the business people to be able to move their houses from point A to point B. But we also have to understand the need for commuters and users of the highway to be able to use the highway as much as possible without any impediment. And the houses on our highways during the day, and especially at times during peak hours, certainly renders our commuters and other road users to some extent makes it inadequate for them to be able to traverse the roadways. And so we looked at the whole situation and we tried to find a time when we believe that it is going to be less inconvenient to the other road users. We were looking at Sundays only, but again we did an analysis and we realized that on Sundays the highways are busy because we have people who are coming back from weekend, maybe in the south or in the west, or from Chatamal or whatever. So we do find that Sundays, especially in the evening time, the highways are extremely busy. So the analysis we did showed that the least traffic is in the evening time or in the night time between 9 p.m. and 4 a.m. And so we decided that we were going to allow the houses to be moved on the highways between that time. Again, I know it's not going to be convenient to everybody. There are going to be those who will still have their negative comments, and there are going to be those who are going to be happy with the move. We're hoping that people will see it as a balancing act, and they're going to embrace it. And I must hope that the people who are engaged in these movements of houses, that they are going to comply with these new rules to make sure that the road users are not inconvenient during the week and during peak hours.
CEO Williams noted that the meeting will be held with operators who transport these structures to explain the new policy and stress the importance of strict safety protocols, particularly as operations are now to be held during nighttime hours.
Well, at the end of the day, they want to move their houses. It will come at a cost to them. They will have to take the cost. And again, we are strict that these escorts must have 2 vehicles, 1 lead vehicle and 1 rear guard. And these vehicles must have proper lighting. And likewise, the vehicle that is carrying the house must also have proper lighting and proper, how do you call it, the thing that is going to make road users know the measurement of the house that is on the highway. So they must have all those things in place to be able to traverse on the highways. And if it is that they're found on the highway without these things that we have stipulated, then they're going to be sanctioned. I have seen many occasions as we stand now that many a times these houses are moved on the highways at night time, and there is no reflector on the house to show that a house is in front of you. At one point, I almost ran into one because there was nothing to show that the house was on the highway. We need to make sure that, again, that there's proper lighting to notify road users of the presence of the houses on the highway as they traverse.
The department has also issued an appeal to all operators and the public to cooperate with this directive. For more information or to apply for movement permits, individuals may contact the Department of Transport headquarters or the nearest district office. With bright smiles, muddy hands, and growing curiosity, over 130 young campers from Orange Walk South are now halfway through the 2nd annual Youth in Agriculture Summer Camp. This year's theme, Harvesting Knowledge One Plant at a Time, is coming to life in the most engaging ways as the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security and Enterprise, in collaboration with Honorable Jose Abelardo Mai, Minister of Agriculture, continues to cultivate a new generation of agriculturally aware Belizeans. Our news team dropped by to see what the kids were up to, and we were greeted by the joyful buzz of young minds hard at work and play. From tending to garden beds, feeding livestock, to experiencing the world to beekeeping, the campers are fully immersed in learning how agriculture farms, the backbone of food security in our country.
But yes, the summer camp this year is being held for 5 days. We have already had horticulture on Monday. Yesterday we did beekeeping. Today we're doing livestock and animals. Some of the kids, for example, are with poultry. Some of them are with sheep. Some of them are with the pigs, and some of them are with the cattle. Tomorrow we should be doing agro-processing and aquaculture, and then on Friday, well, we close and then we have some fun games for the kids. But it's a wonderful experience. There are 9 villages in the Orange Walk South constituency, and we have children from all of those 9 villages. So it's a very, very good representation, and I think it's an excellent opportunity for the children. We're holding the summer camp this year under the theme Harvesting Knowledge One Plant at a Time. And we want for the students to have an experience with agriculture, whether it's with planting. Some of them, for example, took home their seedlings and they're taking care of them, or whether it's with animals. When they go and see the sheep, for example, they're holding the sheep, they're learning about what the sheep eat and what's the value of the meat of the sheep. When they go over to poultry, they're learning about, again, eggs and how to take care of chickens and so on. These are all things that I think are very important, because children need to know what it is that they eat. They need to know about agriculture. Food security is very important for Belize. Fortunately for us in Belize, we are food secure. We, I think, can provide 100% of our food for the whole country, and we want the children to be able to know that and to have an experience with agriculture.
The initiative, according to ministry personnel, is part of a larger effort to inspire young people to view agriculture as a rewarding and essential part of Belize's future. By providing practical exposure in a fun and interactive setting, the ministry hopes to plant seeds of interest that will grow into a lifelong passion or even a career.
One of the tenets of Plan Belize, the original Plan Belize from 2020, and I think it remains in the version 2 of Plan Belize, is that agriculture should be a part of the education spectrum of all children, or of all, well, it should be a part of education, period, whether it's primary or whether it's secondary and even at tertiary level. So this plays right into that. We are able to provide an experience, a hands-on experience, a tactile experience for the children of Orange Walk South. We could do it probably for children of other constituencies, but again, this is Minister Mai's constituency, so we prioritize Orange Walk South. So we want them to be able to know exactly what the animals that they read about, that they are going to see in the news, are about. When we talk about, for example, marketing sheep, we're big in the ministry about that. We talk about cooking sheep meat. We're talking about the different breeds of sheep and improving genetics. They can come here to the agriculture station and actually see that firsthand. They can hold the baby sheep in their hand, the Dorpers, the Catadins, the black bellies, and so on. Similarly, as we said, with chickens, similarly with the pigs, similarly with the cattle that we have on the station as part of what goes on at the station. The kids don't just hear about it, they can actually touch and feel. So we think that's a very important part of their education, and we feel that it's important for them to be able to get that experience, that hands-on experience. Who knows? Later on, you're going to end up probably having 10 of those children be agronomists or be involved in the whatever field of agriculture. Exactly.
The summer camp is expected to close off on Friday with a grand ceremony where children will receive certificates of completion and other treats. And there is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
It is truly a proud and historic moment for us here in San Ignacio. It gives me great joy to welcome you all to the official opening of the very first wooden basketball court in our community.
The cost of the project in completion was about $200,000. Honorable Mala was willing to assist us with this project. This is a huge, huge investment for us.
There can be serious development through sports, especially if the right foundation, having the right facilities are in place. Then the programs follow. We can't put the carriage front of the house by having the programs, but we only have outdoor facilities. Belize rain 6 months out of the year, and having outdoor facilities is just not enough.
Our focus is going to be on education because that's a part of using sports as a vehicle to get as many of our athletes to international schools to play football, basketball, volleyball, track, whatever it is. The other thing is health. 33% of our people are afflicted by diabetes, hypertension, or some ailment like that. And those things can be prevented. So we want to create again the facilities where people can go exercise, have fun.
Electricity is evolving, and BEL is leading the way with smarter connections across Belize. Meet AMI, Advanced Metering Infrastructure. It's not just a meter, it's a smarter way to manage power. Smart meters record your energy use in real time and securely send the data to BEL. Key customer benefits include real-time insights into energy usage, improved home energy planning, integration of solar, battery, and EV technologies, and innovative customer service solutions. Get ready! AMI is coming soon to municipalities across Belize, including the Keys, to give you more control and reliability. BEL, bringing you a brighter tomorrow.
Sunset Carib in San Pedro. From agribusiness to aquaculture, from renewable energy to digital services, from tourism to trade, this is the future of regional integration, and it starts here. Whether you're returning home, expanding regionally, or entering new markets, Belize welcomes you. Why Belize? Why now? Belize Investment Summit 2025, Bridging Markets, Building Resilience, September 3rd to 5th at Sunset Carib, San Pedro. Visit investmentsummit.bz to register and be part of shaping the investment frontier.
Belize is set to gain significant strategic and developmental benefits from its participation in the 7th meeting of the International Solar Alliance ISA Regional Committee for Latin America and the Caribbean, taking place in Santiago, Chile from August 4th to the 6th, 2025. This high-level ministerial meeting convenes regional energy leaders and ESA partners to advance solar deployment, strengthen institutional frameworks, and promote sustainable financing solutions aimed at transforming the region's energy landscape. Belize's participation in the meeting unlocks a range of opportunities, including access to ESA's catalytic financial mechanisms to support solar infrastructure development, capacity building programs for government agencies and energy professionals to enhance technical expertise, opportunities for youth entrepreneurship, and job creation within the solar energy sector, advancements in digital transformation, including the development of smart grids and energy data platforms, engagement in discussions on emerging technologies such as green hydrogen, energy storage, and critical minerals, improved access to solar technologies, and strengthen the regional energy integration partnerships, strengthening of policy frameworks and institutional reforms to attract private sector investment and promotion of a just, inclusive energy transition aligned with Belize's climate and sustainability goals. The insights and collaboration forged during this meeting are expected to lay a strong foundation for transformative changes across Belize's energy sector and the broader Latin America and Caribbean region. Belize is represented at the meeting by Dr. Leroy Almendarez, Chief Executive Officer in the Ministry of Public Utilities, Energy and Logistics, and Ryan Cobb, Energy Director. The National Meteorological Service in Belize, NMS, in partnership with World Food Program, held its multimedia production training of the NMS staff from July 29 to the 30th. The two-day training brought together meteorologists, forecasters, weather observers, and electronic technicians to learn the applications of videography in meteorology in areas such as visualization, real-time updates, data for science, public engagement, videography for weather forecasting and planning, setting up and utilizing the equipment, and post-production using Adobe Premiere. Each thematic session included presentations, videos, and hands-on training on the production process, including pre-production, production, post-production, photography, and graphic design. The equipment utilized for the training was sponsored by the Korean International Cooperation Agency (KOICA) project. These new skills will help the NMS enhance its public engagement and outreach, as well as counter misinformation by providing accurate information that is crucial for informed, robust decision making. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Thursday, August 7th, here on Ctv3 News and Face FM 106.7. Remember that to also log on to Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/Ctv3 Belize News or our YouTube channel at Ctv3 News BZ. From all of us here at Ctv3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.